Hey everybody, and welcome to GEO Lab. This community is about to hit 100 members, so I figured I would get on here and just make a short Loom video about what this community is about, what the purpose is, so that the newer members who are joining this know what to expect out of this community. So first things first, what is GEO? A newer concept and even a new word, so for a lot of people, it's not really going to make a ton of sense. GEO stands for Generative Engine Optimization, and it's basically like AI SEO. For example, when you open up a large language model, like Google Gemini, for example, and you go in here and you ask the question, like, find me a local photographer, right? It will, take your location and take all sorts of other data that it has about you, and it will find you, based on your query, which is like what your question is, local businesses. And that's obviously really good for the business because as we've seen with how much AI is, and especially, these kind of common use AI models are being used, this is obviously a pretty big traffic source for these businesses. So the purpose of generative engine optimization is to try to figure out what methods we can use to actually get people's businesses to rank in these results that come up through these queries that these desired customers are asking. If you think about it too, people who are asking ChatGPT and Google Gemini and all these other large language models are probably in a pretty qualified position to buy. So they're very high quality leads that are kind of coming out of this stuff. So yeah, that's the purpose of generative engine optimization. If you didn't know, now what is our community specifically about? Our community is called GEO Lab because GEO is definitely a newer thing. Nobody really has the playbook yet because it's so new and no one really knows exactly what works for it. So like the purpose of this community is to kind of develop that playbook together and try to figure out what methods we can use to implement on people's websites or implement in people's businesses already so that they can rank in AI answers and be the result that comes up when your desired queries are made. For example, if you're a local plumbing business, when somebody says, hey, I'm a local plumber, or I need a local plumber, my toilet's leaking, or whatever service you provide as a plumber, what can we do to your website or what can we do to your business to essentially rank in those answers, which is a very powerful skill if we can really figure out what works and what doesn't. Right now, we have a pretty good idea of what works, but the point of the lab is to test all of this stuff and actually get some real data behind it so that we can develop the playbook, which will be a very valuable thing for people. And then ultimately, I see this going in the same way that SEO went, right? People will develop their own agencies. People will kind of develop their own ideas about how they can make money using GEO or use it in their business. So that's the purpose of the community. I just wanted to make a short little video about what we're about. We have a few different tabs here. It's a smaller community, but growing very rapidly. We started this less than 3 months ago. And yeah, we have a few tabs about general discussions, introductions for people who are new to the group. This is really the tab that I'm most excited about, which is our case studies and experiments tab. Right now, at the time of making this video, I am taking a business from zero, like no prior SEO or GEO, and trying to establish both baseline SEO and then test those GEO methods from a completely blank slate. And then my partner in this, Kyle, who's also a member of the group and a moderator, he is taking an existing business who has some good SEO and testing some of these GEO methods that we think are going to work to try to establish like their baseline and then see what we can do to their leads once we get these large language models actually recommending their business reliably. So this is where we're documenting all that stuff. I have them all sequentially posted in what I call the lab logs. Little cheesy name, I know. But I'm taking you through step by step of each stage I'm going through, from building the website to eventually, having all these leads, hopefully too many that I don't know what to do with. And then Kyle's posting like the same thing for his stuff. We have a news tab that is basically any news that comes out related to AI or things that might affect GEO. And then we have a resources tab as well. So welcome to the group. We're excited to have you. We're excited to, kind of be developing this playbook for AI to recommend these businesses, because obviously we all know that AI is a really powerful thing. We just don't know exactly how it's going to be used yet to make money. And Kyle and I see this as something that will make money if used in the right way. So we're excited that you're part of the journey, and we'll see you in the next one.